shirt, but oh well.
Hello, everybody out in Facebook land. This is Cindy Harrison, your host of Artfully Connected with Cindy Harrison and also Artful Webinars. And with me tonight is Miss Lydia
Hi,
Steeves.
everyone. I hope you
Well,
have lots of questions.
yes, she would like you to ask questions. So I just go ahead and, like what color is the
Blurt them
sky?
out.
Yeah,
Blurt them out.
what color is the sky? Any questions? But I know it's a busy time of year, and she has this beautiful piece she's going to be teaching on Friday. And so she wanted to give you a little insight on that, or she'll let you know what that's all about. But I want to thank you all for being here tonight and watching this little demo. And
Yeah.
that's beautiful. And and then she'll tell you more about that and how to sign up. But yeah, if you have any questions tonight about pastels, was what you're going to be talking about
Yeah. I
tonight.
just talking about the supplies and a little bit about a technique or two. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure people kind of understood what's out there.
So go ahead and ask questions for that. Let us know if you work in pastels or if you haven't yet, but you're thinking about trying. And she will help you with that and tell you more information about that. But I'm going to get rid of me and
Get rid of you.
put you on here. And there you go. And let's see. Take it away, Lydia.
Take it away. We're going to just jump right in there, are we? Okay, well, again, like I was saying, there's a lot of stuff out there and a lot of questions about what it is and what you can maybe find, what brands, et cetera, et cetera. And you might not like there's not just one answer for everything. So I'm going to show you a couple of things and you can start making some decisions on your own. Lots of times people tell me that they've got a box of pastels and they don't know what to do with them. Like they're in the basement, they've never been used. If that's the case, that's definitely the one you should use if you've signed up for my anything of mine, actually. Because pastels are a different breed as far as that's concerned. You can use whatever you've got. And I'm just going to show you some things now about some other choices and things. So, first of all, the paper you use does make a difference. Um, and I know there's these My Tints, like My Tints paper that comes in a pad often, comes in big sheets too. And then comes in a lot of colors. It's easy, it's cheap, all the rest of that kind of stuff. And I would say I don't recommend that. I would recommend one of these sanded papers. And I know you can't feel them, but they all feel like sandpaper and to different degrees, actually. You can actually probably hear as I rub it that it has a sound like sandpaper. And I actually know some people in my plein air group that I go to all the time that actually work on sandpaper from the hardware store. So, you can always do that too. Um, Dakota Art, Dakota Art Pastels. They're really good. They just do pastels. And they have a variety pack of papers and of pastels, actually. So you can get one piece of everything. And it's not always a big piece. So these ones come from Dakota. I actually did order the paper ones. You can get them on boards as well. And you can see that's Lux Archival. So that way, you don't have to buy a whole pad of that kind of paper. You can just get a little piece like that. And yeah, well, that was something. Le Carte. I think that's Le Carte. That's what that does. And let's see, other ones, they might give you a piece of velour. which we haven't really used too much of that before. There's another La Carte multimedia art board. So you see, you'll get a piece, and that one's a fairly decent size, and you will get a little piece of this little guy here, and that's not a very big size. But if you're interested in exploring, that might be an option to just to go to their website and apply or put in your shopping cart the variety pack. You see there's a Dakota Art Pastel Premiere. And like I said, you can also get them on boards. I think that's part of what they give you, but that's another brand that works really quite well. Ampersand pastel board that always comes in gray, and that is certain sizes. So you wouldn't be able to cut that down to anything, but there's a lot of different sizes. And I do know that a few people use that. Jack Richardson, that on a Gator foam board as well. Okay, so that's Dakota Art Pastels is probably your friend as far as having lots and lots and lots of stuff. And yes, and they have knowledgeable and incredible customer service. Apparently, there's a lady there that, can just go and pick the color that you're describing out of, I don't know how many brands of pastels. And I'll show you some. And this is why I think you should really consider getting a sanded paper. So this is the My Tints paper. And I just took these two colors on the side. So for one thing, this My Tints has this pebbled texture that I have always found annoying. Okay, so then I just kind of slide my pastel sideways, and you can say, okay, well, I can't stand that anymore. I have to rub it. So you give it a little rub, either with, let's see, I'm pretty sure that I had here, here it is. So I rub with this pipe installation. Okay, so there we go. You'll rub that in. And then you think, well, that's not really that vibrant. Let me just try that again. So you put another layer on and you blend the two things together. And it's still like not really great. So then you start to rub again and can see it's not getting any darker. It's not holding the pastel. And you can go around and around and around, but it's not going to get that vibrant. The other side, oh, the other side is even worse as far as the texture is concerned. So, I mean, I don't want to tell you absolutely you can't do My Tints, but you're not going to get the same look because have a look at this. Same two colors, same pressure. Okay, same rubbing. And look at that color. Just look at the difference in color. Okay, that is way better than this. So if you can only just buy one piece, or maybe you can go to the maybe you can go to the shop to the Home Depot, but it is so much worth it if you can get the sanded paper. It really, really is. And if you hate what you do, you can actually either wash it off. It won't come off, obviously, back to the color of this paper, but you can wash it off. Or sometimes I spray it with a workable fixative or something like that and just set all of that in and then go again. And it's a little distracting because, of course, you've got all these other colors on there, but it's not a piece of paper that needs to be thrown out just because you didn't like what you did on it. So,
Lydia,
yes.
Bonnie would like to know what the tool was that you were rubbing with again?
So that is pipe insulation, and that is also at Home Depot. So it's usually slit because the idea is that you wrap it around a pipe in your basement. And then obviously I cut it into some slices here till I get a shape like that. And it's like $3. It's hardly any money at all. And
Wow.
I've found that this works really well for rubbing. If you use a brush, it seems to take it off. There's other smaller tools that I've got that I have used, but that's not for a big area. And you can use your finger. Well, it's sanded paper. So, and often we have a glove on. So, maybe it's not, your finger's not the easiest thing to use either. So, pipe insulation, it's a great, that's a great tool, actually. Paper towels would work too. You could just kind of wipe it with a paper towel or like one of those shop towels that actually has a little bit of sturdiness to it, maybe on a paper towel. So that's my pitch for sanded paper. As we have worked, because we've been working away at Soft Pastels for about 5 years, I think, and we've done a bunch of different things. So we have made our own, and just with like MDF board and your fine pumice gel. So yeah, so that's what that looks like there. It's quite rough though. It is quite rough. And I just rolled that on. I put some fluid acrylic in there. And you can also get something like this, a color fix primer, pastel and multimedia primer. Again, it will be a rougher texture. That's not bad. It's just different. Okay. And some people have a very vigorous and strong mark making, and they might actually want to have something a little bit toothier. But I would say that most of us have landed on these two things. So pastel matte, that's probably my favorite. And it comes in some pretty nice colors nowadays. And I'll show you what I've done on that color. So it's a pet portrait.
You did that on that red paper?
Yeah.
Wow, you wouldn't even know.
What do you mean?
Well, I wouldn't know that you started with red paper and put him on there. That's amazing.
I know the lady that likes these kinds of colors, and I do as well. So that's why I started off with that. And I've got some metallic pastels in there and all manner of wonderful things. So, pastel matte is great. You can actually get a lot of these pads in. They've got palette number whatever, and so this is 7 and has these 3 colors in it, and then there's blues and there's green and there's all sorts of things now.
Okay.
What is this one? These ones are just kind of plainish.
Neutral.
Yeah, the yellow is kind of nice, or the buttercup, I mean. So pastel matte is nice. We have used that. I've also used the U art a lot. It comes only in sand and then a black. And I just bought a great big pad of the black, just because we tend to go a little bit bigger than 9x12s often, but it's okay too. And you can change that color if you want. And I mean, we could talk about that another time, but they only come in 2 colors, whereas pastel matte comes in a lot of different colors.
Bonnie is asking if you've ever used multimedia paper.
You could use multimedia paper. I think I bought the pack from Dakota so that I could get a lot of different kinds of papers. And these are where I ended up. And I think as we have gone along, we've all sort of settled on that. That's another pastel. That ampersand board is also one that people have used an awful lot and have gotten good results. A multimedia board, you should give it a try. Give it a try, Bonnie. So the only thing you can do is try a few things out, and then you just kind of go from there. And you have to try them out a couple of times, right? Because things change. Your technique has to change depending on the paper that you're using. So you got to get used to it first, and you don't like it, and then you try it again, and then you try it again, and maybe at that particular point you can say, well, that's not really for me. I'll do something else. We did this one a long time ago too, just as a demo. And so that started off as sand, I believe. And then I put yellow pastel over the whole thing, put rubbing alcohol over that. And now I have a yellow piece of paper. And then I put him on.
You
The
put
idea that he's in the Christmas lights where he's
you
not
put
supposed to.
rubbing alcohol over the pastels?
Yeah, over just that yellow so that I could change the color of the paper.
Oh.
Yeah. And so before we did a zebra last year, I think, was it last year or the year before, and the convention. And what I also like to do, what that we're going to do here, and there is a prep video, make sure that you access that. So I put black on that, and you'll do that before class, and then you'll put the rubbing alcohol on that, and you'll set that in. So technically, you see, I can wipe that, and it's not coming off on my fingers. So now we know exactly where that lamp is. And then we can get our nice yellows and get that in there without that black contaminating our yellow. And then we can work away. And at the end, we can go in and, kind of trim up the lines and get them all straight again. So this is on pastel mat. That's on a wine colored one.
Now, did
Yep.
you use vodka in the demo?
Not vodka, rubbing alcohol.
Yeah, Bonnie's saying I watched the demo and they used vodka.
Well, you
Why?
can use vodka, but I think rubbing alcohol is cheaper, isn't it?
I would think so. Save the vodka for drinking.
You know what? You can even use water, but it just takes a little bit longer to dry.
Okay.
So if you get 90% rubbing alcohol, it
Now,
will.
now I know when you do colored pencil, you use OMS.
Yes, but that's
You-
not for the same thing.
So that wouldn't work on pastels then.
No, that's greasy,
Oh, okay.
right? That's a odorless mineral
Right.
spirit.
So that's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And
So,
saying great info. So keep going.
okay, good. Yeah, no, that's what I just thought I would say. Now, you see, so this one was on wine colored pastel matte, and it has a certain sort of texture to it. Even if you're trying to, get it as smooth as you possibly can, you'll always have a little texture, and that's good. Although I went and I got rid of it all here. It works really well there. And then this is on black um, U art paper. And I think that worked out pretty good too. What I ended up doing here is bringing in some red violet to get that reddish look back into the sky and everything. So I think it'll work whatever. If you ended up with the pastel board and the gray, it'll work just fine. This is really nice too. So you'll put your pattern on and you'll do the black just the same as we are going to do either with UArt or the pastel mat, and off you'll go. It's going to be good. If you end up with beige UArt, you might have trouble. You want a dark a medium or a dark color. All right, let's see. Where else was I going to go? I think that's pretty much it for your paper. And I just hope that that's what you were. I hope you went, oh, like that when you saw the difference between using sanded paper and the My Tints paper. Like pastel's all about color. It really, really is. And that just doesn't give it to you. And then you can only go so many times on that. And it's not getting darker, it's not getting brighter, it's not getting, you can't do anything with it. So I really strongly hope that you will make the jump to some sort of sanded paper. Did you go, oh my goodness? I hope so. I hope so. All right. So now comes to pastels. And oh my goodness, I mean, that is like a huge, huge, huge topic. So there's two kinds of pastels, oil and dry or soft. And oil pastel is something completely different, and we don't use those. Okay, that's
Before we move on to the pastels, Bonnie would
right.
like to know what grit sandpaper if I tried some from the hardware store.
Oh, um, well, you really do want a fine one, I think. And maybe one of those wet dry ones. You know how you can get those ones that we can wet dry. I don't have grit offhand. I think the UART is an 800 and 600 of the dark, and that works quite well. And the light um, comes at 800. I bought that, but I find 600 works really well too. I'm not sure if they match over into hardware paper like that. Don't get those really chunky ones. Get something that you actually think that you can put
Yeah,
some.
very fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We're not talking about those chunky ones. Not at all. Okay. So here we are with pastels. And again, this is just a little sheet that comes with the coda. And you can order from them too a little variety pack of different brands. What you might not want to do that just yet because you'll probably get some of these really expensive ones. And I think we're kind of down here in the entry level ones. I picked New Pastel to start off with, mostly because we are decorative painters. We are very, very comfortable with a name of a color and a number of a color. So, the bottle green is, if you had glasses that could read that, 298. And the new pastels actually come printed or impressed in with a number into the pastel. When you get into, I would say, any other brand, you take the labels off and that's it. You're done for. And that's good. We're fine with that. We don't actually, pastels are not about this particularly. It just is a good place to start. So new pastels, these are a different one. New pastels are what I thought was a good idea to start off with. And they actually are a Prismacolor, but they are new pastels, firm pastel color sticks. And I picked the 48 for the lamp because we need, I think it's this color here, yellow orange, a very pale yellow orange. But you see, if you had this, it's going to be fine. So close counts in pastels. It really, really counts. New pastels are considered hard. There's Cretacolor. I think those are relatively easy to find. Um, I've seen these ones, these Mungios or something. Um, yes, up here, Mungyo. People seem to be happy with these ones too. So, and they're a square as well, and you can get artist and softer and so on. They kind of all the same to me. I think they all feel about the same hardness, I suppose. So if you have a box just laying around in your basement, grab those and work with them for a bit, and then you can start to add as you like. Rembrandt is another brand that is very easily purchased. And I think you can still buy singles of them. The new pastels, I don't think you can buy singles anymore. You can buy a set, and then after that, you might be adding from other brands. So Rembrandt is a good one. And there's these other ones, Art Spectrum and Holbein. I think I've used these and they look good. Rembrandts are good. And then the one brand up here that I've suggested occasionally is these unisons. And let's see. I don't think it's that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's this one here. They're kind of round, a little bit chunky like that. And you can buy half sticks. And I would recommend definitely a half stick, but they're easily purchased. I just try to get ones that I've seen around in a few stores. Sennelier is also another one that seems to have a lot of sets and things like that out there, and they're quite a nice soft. And again, I'd get a half stick. Actually, I wouldn't get the full stick. Half sticks are great. Then you get more in your box, or it's cheaper. I just bought some Schminkies. Guess how much it cost me per stick. Just go ahead and guess. I don't have a prize for the person who guesses,
Oh,
but
bummers.
yeah.
We're more motivated with prizes. $6 a stick.
Okay, so that might be about right because it's $10 Canadian. So it might be more like $8 a stick US.
Wow.
I know, right?
How long does a stick typically last you?
It actually lasts quite a bit. It does last a fair length of time, unless you drop it. If you drop it.
Then you have pieces. But
Yes, yes.
how often
Do I drop it?
no, I suppose, because I guess that's a rhetorical question in a sense because it depends on how many pieces you produce per day, right?
Well, yes, of course. Yes, of course.
Hmm.
Just hang on here. $10 US to Canadian. No, no, $10 Canadian to US. 72 cents Canadian dollar. Okay, here we go. So $7.22 would be
Yeah, that's
for
a good
this.
price. Yeah, wow. That's a
Which
half a
thing?
stick.
No, this is a full stick. This is a
Okay.
full stick. So, but they're so soft. Like you just like you can feel it. It's so incredibly soft. It's amazing how soft this is. And if you just put one little stroke onto a piece of paper, it will show up like right now, just right now. So what you normally do, or what the accepted way of doing things is you start your piece off with these hard pastels, and then you progress to the softer ones for the pings and the extra colors and the luscious beautiful strokes that you can get. I have recommended that people get a white, not necessarily in a schminky, but in a softer one. Like even if you go just a little bit higher, so for sparkles, it's nice for snow, so that we can kind of get this like chunks of snow to kind of just fall and build up. And then just for the snow that falls down, we can just use our regular new pastels, but they just go on so much easier and better. And you just kind of put it on and one stroke gets it done. You don't need everything right away. So usually people say things along the line of, how do you get details? And I do know one artist that sharpens their new pastels, and so you could do that. But I find that I can do quite a bit with just one of these points. And all it is a change in the way you think about your pastel, of course. But if you just use that little piece, you can get a fine line. So I can get whiskers, eyebrows. You can get in there in a little bit of detail, no problem, actually. And as, of course, you use yours, if they start to wear down, you could sharpen it with something like this, which is, again, hardware store C120. This is gyprock. And what I do with that is I just sharpen flat. So I take my pastel and sharpen it so that it's new. It's that back to that square shape. And then technically you have 4 points. Sometimes it's hard for us to remember that you have 4 points and that you need to put the point on the paper, but we're not that old. We can learn a new trick, I'm pretty sure. So when I do something like this, I use my soft ones to get the color and to get the big shapes. And then I often just go in with this hard one and I move it and I can soften and I can blend and I can make it as smooth as I want. So some of this is a new pastel, the darks. Well, I go in there and try to build that little tuft. And same with here. I put this on. Now to get this super bright white, I would have taken one of my Schmenkys or my Senneliers and I would have put the white right in there, right where I want it. And then I would have taken a white one like this and I would have blended it and extended it outwards to soften it out. So I use the hard ones for that, and the pencils work that way too. They can also be more of a blending stick than actually applying the color because they don't do that well to apply color. I mean, I have lots of pencils too, but like so for in here, I'll just not tempt fate and I'll point with the appropriate color. So I put in the soft and get it close, and then I take my pencils and I just kind of move that soft pastel and get it in the right spot.
So those are pastel pencils.
Yeah, these are pastel pencils.
Do you have a favorite brand?
I think that I like the Carbothellos. That they seem to be my favorites. They're a little bit softer, it seems like. I've got these pit ones as well, but I tend most of these guys are short. My Carbothellos are shorter. So that's what I would pick up if I had to. Like I think I just got these from somewhere else, from somebody who was getting rid of all their things. So that's why I've got those two brands. And then yeah. to sharpen those guys. Lots of people have trouble sharpening them, and they would use an X-Acto knife, but this one works pretty good. I like that one. Seems to work okay.
Did they have trouble because they break or
Yeah, yeah,
they break?
they're much more, they're even more delicate than the colored pencils. So, I mean, I wasn't really looking for a pencil experience, I guess. I have colored pencils, so I wasn't really looking for that. And I was looking for more color, more like punch. And colored pencils don't have that. And I also wanted like a little bit more of a painterly look to my pieces. And colored pencils don't tend to do that very well either. They do detail really good, but they don't do um, they don't do the fluffy things as well. Anyway, that's where I was going with that. But I think I just showed her to her mother, and so far her mom likes it. So hopefully that'll work. So let's see. We've talked about the paper, and so yeah, pastels. Just don't get all hung up on what brand you've got and the fact that you don't know what color it is. Because it's kind of the way it is with pastel. Close is good enough. And as long as you are picking, so like for instance, if you were picking, I guess that's a lavender sort of slash pink, that works. You could put, you can put a little peach on there and that would work. And you can put any other color on there as long as it's light, as long as it's light. And conversely, when you do dark things, you kind of have to stay with the same value. Like you wouldn't put a dark purple on that if you were, because you'll change the whole look if you put a dark on top. Unless that's what you want, of course. And you can mix them by doing this. You should try not to instantly get in there with a blending tool. You should try to it let the layers sort of show through, I guess. Occasionally you think, oh, I just don't want that texture. I want to have it smoothed out a little bit. And let me see, look at that. Here I go, and I'm going to go smooth that out. Now, this is not a sanded paper, and I'm falling into that same thing that's happened with that other paper. You're basically just taking it all off. And now I've got a grayed blob. So we're not really going to blend on atmospheric our atmosphere here. We're going to try to do it just with the side of our pastel so that we can get a whole bunch of colors going. And you see right in there, it's where the light meets the dark night and we get that look, that little shimmering look. And that's what we're going for. I want to get like an atmospheric look. So what we're going to do is use the side of our paper. And so sometimes that's what happens if it's not flat. You get, let me see if I can get it. Does that. So sometimes you get it on the side and you think, oh, it's not working. You just get two lines and you just have to do a little bit of wearing down and then move it around like that. And then as you move away, you keep doing this while you lift up your pastel. Okay, so you're lifting it up while you're working away at it. So I don't want that. Okay, so then I come on this side and I come towards this other one and I start lifting up my pressure, lifting up my pressure. And by the time I'm over there, I'm not hardly even touching the paper. Right? Different directions. And that's how you blend. Rather than getting in there and just rubbing everything to death, occasionally you're going to rub. I'm not saying you don't ever rub, but that's why you have your little finger out and maybe you just do a little rub when there's a stubborn area. Sometimes the paper doesn't take everything the way you want it to, or there's an uneven dip or something. Manufacturers, whatever. Okay, so you can do a little and then we can get another color going. All right, and come down this way. Lightly, 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 keeps going all the way. And lift your thing up. And that's how we're going to try to get it to blend and come together. And then when we get to, this is just scrap Stonehenge paper that I've got going here. When we get to our green boughs, we've got about 4 colors of green in there. We'll just do that more with a much more linear stroke. And again, layers and layers and layers, darks and lights, and even we'll maybe put in a turquoisey or something like that in there too. You can see I got a bit of blue coming in there. I think, I mean, I try to do that with my colored pencils too, is to bring in other colors that maybe are a little bit of a surprise. But pastels really lend itself to that. I had a red and in that package, and I think it is so hard, it's never going to work. I don't know what the heck happened, if it had too much binder in it or what, but I think that's
You're off the camera. You need to
basically a dead pastel. I should just throw it away.
So it doesn't come, it doesn't rub on the paper.
It doesn't seem to want to go on the paper at all.
Wow.
It's on the sanded paper, so it works better. And the side, but it's very, very hard. Okay, so just you can see the difference between sanded and not sanded. I'm telling you, get sanded. Sometimes people think that they'll save a little bit, a few bucks, and they will. It is expensive, not dollar store, but I think it's worth it. And like I said, you can always just wash it off and start again. It won't be brand new, but it will at least be another piece of paper that you can try something else on. So all that to say, when I was going with this red one, is it was very frustrating for me to get these little round berries with that red. And that is where I went to a unison and I just got it done, because one swoop and it was done. Or a Rembrandt, like I say, a Rembrandt would work. I think even these Mungyos are pretty soft. Anyhow, you just have to be flexible. And it's a great medium for that. It's very, very flexible. So then I was going to say, lots of people hate it because it's messy. And it is. It's dusty. So you will have to have an easel. You can get a tabletop easel or something. You can maybe MacGyver something for at first. but make sure that the easel can let your piece stand straight up or maybe even slightly forward, because you will be constantly making dust. Even on a piece of relatively smooth paper, you will be making dust, and you want it to drop down, not on your piece, but down into a nice little trough that you're going to make with tinfoil. So I usually do that, open that up, tape it to the back. Like that, and then try to get it to just go a little bit forward.
You're so creative.
Well, you pick up all sorts of things as you go to one workshop or another and so on. But that just holds that keeps that dust down to a dull roar so you don't have it all over your work surface. You'll have to keep your pastels clean. So you'll want some toilet paper and you'll just be wiping it like that as you're going along. Sometimes you need to wipe a lot, sometimes not so much. As far as your hands are concerned, if you just wash them frequently when wipe them, that will work. That's the easiest. You could get barrier cream if you don't mind that. I'm not really a cream person, so I use gloves, and you can just use your disposable ones if you want. And again, I went to another workshop, and it actually was an oil painter, but she uses these are for they're for the high tech industry because they have a very grippy fingers. And you'll put that on and you'll cut off your baby finger so that your finger's out like that. And you can go tick, tap, 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 tap whenever you want to. And I just got these off of Amazon, and I think I tell you exactly what they are in the piece. If you want them, you don't have to. They're just something that I found. And when I remember to put them on, they're great. sometimes, sometimes they're, you forget to use them. And I was going to show you these, and I know that Rembrandts also come in these little half sticks and just like a little teeny weeny package, and you can get them in blues and greens and every color family. So maybe, don't have to get everything right now. I'm just showing you some things that are out there. That might be it to clean especially your soft pastels at the end, or if they're getting really, really filthy. One artist that I know uses just a feather duster and just cleans them all off like that. And the other way to do it is cornmeal. And then I don't know if they work, how well it works on the hard pastels, but then you just kind of shake it like that. You don't do this a lot, but here we go. See how clean it is now? You can do it again and get that other side. So if they look really bad, that's an option as well. Yeah,
So you're putting them in cornmeal?
yes, cornmeal.
Really? Okay.
Just shake it up, and it takes all your dirty bits, and every so once in a while you might need to have a good cleaning.
So, but you don't store them in that. You just clean them.
Oh, I just clean them in that. Yeah.
Okay. How do you store them? Or are you going to get to that?
Well, the new pastels I try to keep in the box of 48s because then I know exactly what's in that box for designing. And on my website, I believe I have a free chart for you in the 24, 36, and the 48 packs. This one I got off the internet there. And I tried to sort of color code, what's a 24 pack, what's a 36 pack, and then now I got the 48 pack. It's free. You can just download it off of my website. I just made it. I'm not very good at making charts. That's not one of my fortes. So, it's might be just a little bit rough. And as far as I storing them, if I could move my camera over there, you'd see that I got my yellows in one big long trough. I got my oranges, my reds, and I moved them. I got the light ones at the top and I got the dark ones at the bottom. And in the red, I've got the orangey reds to the left, and I've got the blue, sort of pinkier reds to the right, because then the next one is purple, and then the next one is blue, and then the next one is green. So they're all very much like a color wheel, except in long troughs. Yeah. So I chatted quite a bit here.
Well, you answered a bunch of questions and told people information that they wanted to, or need to hear. So hopefully,
Yeah,
um, tell them about you. You have things on your website.
I do have things on my website. So we have been doing demos, like a full project, like this little guy here is a demo that we did as a watch, learn, create. So the packet's on my website, and then you'd have to go back to, that whole Facebook thing, and you're
Or
trying to bring in.
it'll probably be on YouTube if it isn't
Yeah.
already. Just
And
ask me.
just ask you. And the Christmas candles is what we did last year, just as a watch, learn, create. And we asked this year, did you want a little class for the lantern? And everybody said yes, they wanted an actual class. So that's why we've got that one coming up on Friday. But the Christmas candles, everybody liked those ones too. Three big chunky pillar candles with some greenery and some white berries. And it was like a fun background and everything there too. So that's on my website. And then I do have a couple of online classes back when we were doing them at the very, very beginning. So I've got a little fox, and I had the cat in the bag. Oh, you can see that behind me. You see that there we go, right there. There's a cat in the bag. And those are actually online classes that are already pre-recorded. So if you're interested in those designs, I don't have too many of them, but at least there's a few things there. And I usually try to do one in our convention. And so I'm not going to take it out of its bag because I don't want to get it dirty. But this is the one that we've got going for this year's. And so that's going to be, you're going to prep that background with an alcohol wash. So you put a whole bunch of green all over the paper, and you'll put the wash on there of the alcohol again to set it in. And then in class, we'll work more on it. And the pink, oh, you'll do that to the black beaks too, because black is terrible. Black just gets all over everything. So we want to put it on so we know where it is and set it in. And you'll probably need one or two pencils for around the eyes and things like that too, like a gray and a white and a black. Pastel pencils, not colored pencils, which I took the other day. I was working on something and I took a regular wax pastel, coloring away there, thinking, oh, this is really strange. I don't know what's wrong with this pencil. It was the wrong kind of pencil. It
Got
was
to keep
okay.
them separate, right?
Oh, I do, but for some reason that one got in the wrong spot. But
So Kathy says, she goes, I use 1,000 grit sandpaper.
oh, there you go, 1,000.
A
Ooh,
thousand. Isn't that awesome? And Linda says, thank you for all the information. And Carol says, how do we apply the rubbing alcohol? I'm
just with
sorry,
the
but I have never done this technique before.
so there is a prep video. So if you sign up for the class, you'll go and you'll access the prep video, but you just color, and you don't do a good job of coloring it. You just pop in the black and down the stripes or that down the strats of the lampshade, and then you'll dip your brush. I just use an angle and into the rubbing alcohol, and you'll come down and make everything wet. If you don't make some parts wet, then that stays active and will get all over the place again. So that's how you put it on. It's only to set it. You're not making anything fancy, nothing like that. You're just setting the black. That's all.
Very cool. Okay. Well, let's
And
see.
I'm and plus go to my website because I think I have a basics video. I might actually show that a little bit. But I always show it on a prep video if you sign up for a class. So you're never going to be left hanging as far as that's concerned.
And they can get a hold of you either here or at on your Facebook page
Yeah.
or email.
Yep. Lydia Steeves at Gmail. Do that one at .com. That'll work out good. And one thing we didn't really address, do we have three? We have 3 minutes. Usually people ask me about fixatives. In general, you don't fix. You have to pretty much put these things under glass. They haven't invented the fixative that will let us just throw it up on the wall. If you use sanded paper, there's really very little dust that falls off afterwards. You just give it a good big whack on the back and things fall off, and then that's it. There's different ways to frame. You can put it under a mat with a little ditch so that if anything does fall down, it does not fall on your mat, but it falls down behind the mat. And you can frame now without mats. You can just put little spacers between your piece and the glass, and you can squish it right up tight. And I know there's a lot of controversy with that too, but that is a very traditional way of doing framing pastels. You'll be hard pressed to get a framer to do that for you, but I know several professional artists that have been doing it for years. So there's lots of options there. And the sprays tend to alter the look of your pastel unless you get one of those $35 a can things. So a lot of artists spray maybe halfway and then finish up. A lot of artists just don't spray. Some artists do, and they do it with the expensive stuff. But I know if you use pan pastels with your colored pencils, you'll notice that it darkens the darks and it lightens the lights. So you end up with, you've lost all your punch, I guess. And in between, like your midtones, quite often it does little funny things to that too. So it's a gamble to spray.
Yeah, you hate to put all those hours into that work and then have something happen.
Yeah, things happen for sure, but you have to ask yourself, why do you think you need to spray? Ask yourself that. Why are you spraying? Because it's not going to be a varnish the way we varnish acrylics. It's not that. You can't ever do that. They have not invented that yet. They're trying, but they haven't done it yet. So you have to ask yourself, why do you think you need to spray it?
Because that's what we've done all our lives.
Yeah.
Bonnie says, thank you, Lydia. You are always so informative. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you guys coming out. I didn't mean to talk this long, but
Hey, it's okay. So thank you all for being here. And if you have any questions for Lydia, go ahead and put them in the comment, put the @ sign and her name. Make sure the L in Lydia is touching the @ sign so she knows that there's some comments there for her to go check out. And if you do get a chance to try the pastels or go check out her website for the free, demonstrations or how-tos, and then check out the Artfully Connected YouTube channel for all of her little critter squares. I am slowly getting a bunch of stuff up there. These pastels, though, they're not critter squares, right? They're
They're
just,
not, no, yeah, they're not the little critter squares. They're just small pastels. We did that little kitty, like I said. We did a little, I was going to say a skunk, but that might have been a class actually. The little skunk,
hmm,
Parker in pastels.
yeah, I'm
Oh,
trying
I've
to
got
find
tons of
them.
stuff. Yeah, I got tons of stuff.
It's like I'm trying to find these things, and I'm like, I don't know where they are. Why can't I find them? Um, but she has many, many things over there and some in the Art for Webinars library as well. So that's that. And then Friday is her class. So for the lantern, if you want to join it, it's not too late. You do get a recording. The recording is good for 3 months after I post it. And so you'll have that until sometime in March, probably. Yeah, that one's a beautiful
Here's the
one.
candles. So we did that one last year. So do
What
this one.
was the Lake Como one? What was that?
Oh, yes, we did a Lake Como. You're right. It was little glasses, two little wine glasses,
Mm-hmm.
lunch on, and a nice, pretty, pretty pastel. There we go.
Yeah, so peaceful.
Napkin and some shadows and things like that. So, and that was just a little small thing like that. So there's
Shirley,
lots of stuff to do.
did Shirley the sheep?
Oh, Shirley the sheep.
Yeah, that looks like a nice beginner piece, don't you think?
You know what? A lot of
That
these,
one.
oh, there she is. A lot of these are very beginnery, and I've used the 24 pack for most of them. It's only just recently that we branched out a little bit to get a couple of other colors that the 24 pack just didn't have, like a turquoise and that yellowy, goldy kind of coloring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a
Oh, you
an
did the raccoon.
assistant.
You did the
Yes, the
raccoon.
little raccoon
Oh,
there.
yeah. I'll show.
Little bunny rabbit, a blue jay. Oh, this was a good one.
Hold on. I'm
Oh,
sharing the raccoon.
see,
You
that
see
one's
him?
cute too, right?
Yeah, he's adorable. So you want me to
The fall crow, of course. We
oh,
did that one,
nice.
and that was like hugely fun. But that was one where we all purchased a unison or a Rembrandt or something else for the fiery background, for the real punch of color. Yeah.
And I've got Cadbury also, the cheeky blue jay, Lake Como, the fall
Yeah.
crow, puppy on
Goodness.
a perch,
On a perch, yes.
and the Christmas candles, which are just gorgeous. I'll show
Yeah.
I'll show them big I'll show them big size here so people can really really see the gorgeousness. How beautiful that
It was
is.
lots of fun. Lots of fun.
Definitely. Definitely. So, anyways, there's a lot there to choose from. And again, any questions, you can send them to Lydia and she'll answer for you. Other than that, I'm going to say see you on Friday, I hope. If not,
Yes.
everyone, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
All right then. Thanks for coming out, everybody.
Thanks
Take
for
care.
coming out, everybody. Maybe.